Welcome on in for the overnight edition of From Day One, part 81.3. As always, let's hit the mailbag first. Raphael is waiting on the other side, but before we do get to him, we do have something we have to discuss. In the history of From Day One, over 240 some odd episodes, we have never really run afoul of any rhyme or reasons other than maybe a small musical clip we had to edit out due to a copyright claim from a musician. Something rather easy, no problem. We've always had the Sounds of Dominion in part 1, mocking sovereign citizens, First Amendment auditors, COVID Karens, and the like in part 2, and of course the dulcet tones of the great one, Art Bell, in part 3. However, if you do go take a look at our back catalog, you will, at least for the moment, notice a big gaping hole where episode 80 part 2 should be. And that is because YouTube, in its quote-unquote infinite wisdom, even though we do recessively mock, ridicule, and laugh at those folks like sovereign citizens, COVID Karens, and the like, they have copyright striked and removed the episode claiming medical misinformation. Which has got me extremely wondering what the heck we're going to do going forward. I've already posted today's part 2. This is recording part 3. Because I recorded that before I knew that YouTube took down yesterday's part 2. But a big disclaimer at the beginning of the video down in the comments on that one, hoping that it won't get the same treatment. Because another one would actually prevent us from episoding and airing 7 days worth of From Day One episodes. I have, of course, submitted a appeal to it, but who knows what will happen there. It is definitely going to make us reevaluate what we do for these episodes going forward. But you're not here for my hassles, my pain, and everything else. You're here for the great one, Art Bell. And without further ado, we go back to October 10th, 2013, to pick up the rest of that particular episode of Dark Matter. Open lines where it sounds like he's getting pretty close to making it time traveler only lines for the final hour. Art Bell, if you'd be so kind, your next call, please.
Hi, Art. This is William from Texas. First of all, are you still taking normal open calls, or is this time traveler time?
I am until the break. And the break is coming up pretty soon, and then I'm not going to take normal calls. I'm going to take time traveler calls for a full break.
Okay, good. I've been away from my radio for a few minutes. Didn't want to miss it. First of all, infinity to the power of infinity Roswell's to you. I've been listening for over 19 years. Never called in until now. Art, I have a few thoughts regarding the Matthew Alpert guest you had on your show a couple weeks ago. Something you said during that show, it sparked a few ideas that I had that might explain something.
Sure.
So first of all, I hope to kind of explain a possible explanation of the near-death experience and the viewing of different deities during that experience. Not necessarily being a proof against God, as Matthew alluded to. So first of all, let's assume Matthew has some level of correctness. I'm kind of going fast through this because I know time's of the essence. So with the idea that there is a God part of the brain, let's assume he's correct with that, yearning to seek out a higher being that created you. So first of all, I'm not trying to explain the infiniteness of God by comparing him to a mere human being's logic, but this flow kind of helps me explain it and understand it with my feeble mind, actually what might be happening. So let's go with what I've read and heard others say many different times over the years, that they're where they compare God to being like a computer programmer. Of course, many infinitely times more intelligent and powerful, but essentially you've got source code, and that would be DNA. Could it be explained by DNA? And of course, all programmers start with source code, they compile it, they have a final product that comes out. The program, if you will, the end result. In this case, it would be a human being based on God's source code. So next, let's consider some recent scientific results that kind of compare the universe as if it was a simulation in like the Matrix or a simulation inside a computer. So again, back to thinking of this like a computer programmer. By the way, I can send you a lot of research on that. But now, if you think of God as a programmer, DNA being the source code, the compiled version being a human being, you could think of God giving you a brain, a device. Okay, and this device, this brain, allows you to think and so on and so forth. Might very well also have a phone back home to your creator section. Of course, why not? Any good computer programmer or human engineer might build into any device he might make ways to communicate with it. The device might phone back home to home base, so to speak. Telecommunications equipment, etc. So again, I'm not trying to equate God's infinite power to a mere mortal human engineer, but in this example, I'm kind of running through this where, for instance, prayer, meditation, that's where you come in, or you kind of made me think of this when you said the electromagnetic stimulation of the brain. You could kind of consider that as hacking the communication section of your brain, your device. Perhaps like any hacker would hack an electronic device. And that would activate the typical near-death experience, the tunnel, the light, and so on and so forth. Seeing the deity that you're individually familiar with, and that you've studied and learned about it and accepted all of your life. So, of course, the near-death experience occurs, real situations, an accident, you're very sick, so on and so forth. You hack the communication area of your brain with electromagnetic stimulation in the labs, for instance. It may not be your time, you come back, and so on and so forth. Now, the last part, back to the programmer analogy, if indeed this all happens to be true in some way, shape, or form, there's a dedicated part of the brain that comes to fill in with a God concept. That's where the part where you consider it being filled in with a variable. Again, back to computer analogy, in a website, or you're filling in your first name or your last name. That little first name spot would be, in your case, Art. In my case, it would be William, and so on and so forth. So it's a conceptual variable. So you're activating that part of your brain. It's conceptual. You're seeing the visual deity that you're familiar with. It's filled with your particular deity that you've accepted. And that's what you're seeing, potentially. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there as a possible thought. And so essentially that would prevent shock. Seeing something unfamiliar would be bad. And that all could be very well just part of the programming God gave you in your device when you're phoning home.
Okay. I appreciate it. So God as a master programmer, why not? The possibility that we're living in some sort of created universe, that we're living in a kind of a matrix. Science is looking at this genuinely hard right now. Did you know that? It's something we could have a lot of discussion about, because I don't rule it out. Do you? That we're all kind of walking around in a programmed world, that we're not seeing it all as it actually is, very much like the movie The Matrix. Science is trying to figure out, and I guess they have come up with a way to test whether, in fact, we're living in such a world. I don't reject the idea. Hard science doesn't reject the idea. Well, maybe some of it does. But it's definitely intriguing. And as this caller said, perhaps we do have that urge that was programmed into us by our Creator. Definite possibility. All right, listen, here's what I'm going to ask. I know it's hard, but I'm going to ask. Everybody hang up. Hang up now. I will open lines after the next break, I promise, and you'll be able to call back in then. But for now, everybody hang up your phone, and the only people that I want to call are time travelers. Again, I know this is a very hard request to make, and in the future we'll solve it by having a special line or two so that we can call it out for time travelers or whatever we want. But I would like to try it, so if everybody be kind enough to hang up and only time travelers call, we'll see if it works. We'll give it a try. So here comes the break. I'm expecting that you're hanging up now and cooperating. Now, those of you that are time travelers or who have time traveled are welcome to call 1-855-REAL-UFO. Everybody else, hang loose.
Again, we'll return to him as soon as the musical bumper concludes. So hang with us.
Now, here's where I need your cooperation, everybody. I've told my friend back there in D.C., whose name is Evan, by the way, to only admit people who claim they are time travelers. Nobody else should call. Only people who say they are time travelers or JC. If the real JC calls, I'm going to let him get through. And this is between now and, well, I don't know, when I run out of time travelers or get to the next break, one of the two. So if everybody would refrain from calling, except time travelers, and maybe JC if he's out there, we'll proceed. The number is 855-REAL-UFO. That's 855-REAL-UFO or 732-5836. What do you think? Only one way to find out, eh? You are on the air, whoever you are. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
This happened to me when, first of all, Roswell's and 51s.
Thank you.
This happened to me when I was in high school. I was walking down our main street, which at the time all the stores and stuff were closed, and I rounded a corner to go down an alley, and I realized that I had forgotten something. And when I came back through the alley, I felt this weird, like, tingling sensation. And then when I came back on the main street, all of the businesses looked brand new, and all the cars were like 40s cars. They had those interesting fins and all that.
Wow.
Yes, and as soon as I started getting scared, I felt that feeling again, and then suddenly I was back in my own time.
You popped back.
Yeah.
So you had a little time shift, actually a big time shift, but for a small amount of time.
Yes, and this was back when I was in high school, around the high school age, so it was around 2001, 2002.
Is it the only time this has ever happened to you?
No. I've had situations where I've felt like I've gone back like an hour or two, and on the same day, but it was never anything that big, and it really hasn't happened for a long time. But I don't know if that's considered time travel. It's not like I'm in a machine.
It absolutely is. It was involuntary, and it happened for a short time, but it absolutely was time travel. No question about that. That's amazing. Thank you very much for the call.
It was a real honor speaking to you, sir.
All right, take care. That's a time shift, and albeit a short one, yes. And it's entirely possible that time travel is a function of our brain, that it can be done through our brain. Remember The Island off Michigan? What a movie that was. Anyway, hello there. You're on Dark Matter.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. I'm a time traveler, and I have a gift for everyone.
Okay. Can you tell us in what manner you travel in time or have traveled?
I traveled in a spirit.
As a spirit. Okay. All right.
People call me Spirit Walker.
All right.
And I haven't done it in a long time, but the gift that I have for everybody that I've learned in my time travels is that if you take a solar cell, you know how everybody needs extra energy now. If you take a solar panel, solar cells, and you bounce out, you make it as big as you want around, like a record player, and you spin that at 36,000 RPMs, the power will begin to suck into the cell instead of laying there lazily.
Wow. Let's roll over this again. You said a solar cell, you build a solar cell or a group of cells into
A
round affair.
Round shape, perfectly balanced.
Right. It would have to be at that with that kind of revolution at
36,000 RPMs. That's about the same speed as a router motor. You know, if you're using a router.
Right.
And you have to gear that up. And once you gear that up, the other half of that, now that will begin to suck the energy in to the cell. This will replace all the reactors. And then, I don't know if you know, the dark matter.
Man, I've got another question. A couple of questions. Hold on. A couple of questions. How big is this thing that you built in diameter, let's say?
Okay, the one that I made was almost 3 feet in diameter. It was just an experimental.
Okay. All right. And you used what to turn it?
I used a router motor.
Router motor. Okay.
Gear it up. You have to turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off to get it to build up.
Okay.
Because if you just turned it on just flat out, it would burn out the motor.
Okay.
And you have to use parts from the generator where the energy goes through. You have to drill holes through the little deals in there to get the wires through so that when it spins, it still has the electricity to come out. So
it sounds like you really did build this. Do you have this diagrammed?
Yeah, I do. I was thinking about sending you my book because I'm getting older now, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with all my book because I have a book 4 or 5 inches thick, full of stuff that probably people should have.
Can I ask where you have traveled, or when you have traveled?
I've traveled as far as back as to the Civil War. God showed me how war is hell.
Really? You went back to the Civil War. How about forward in time? Is that possible?
Forward in time, you can go forward in time, and I have gone forward in time.
Can you tell me how far?
I couldn't measure it because when I was traveling in time, it's just strange to explain it. I couldn't explain it.
Okay.
But I was able to bring back some technologies with me, and this is one of them. This is one of the technologies. I have a lot more, and I need to get them out, and I'd like to send them to you. Yeah,
I would like to receive them.
If I was to send it, general delivery.
No, listen, can you, email's better if you're able to do it. If not, there are people who send me things that are just addressed to Art Bell, Prompt, Nevada. I don't know how they get to me. Somebody in the post office recognizes who I am and they get to me, but I think also sometimes they don't. So here's what I would say. Do you have access to email?
Oh, well, no, I don't. My son had it, but he's moving back to Nevada.
You said you're getting older now.
Yeah.
You don't sound old.
I'm not, well, I am old, but I'm also disabled. I've been through a lot. I've been through way more than anybody should be. And through all these adventures, and this has made me who I am today. I just know so much stuff. I
am so interested in time travel. Okay, you can try a general delivery to me, or just put Art Bell, Prompt, Nevada, and hope for the best.
Okay, I'll do that.
I would really look forward to it. What's it like to travel into the past, into a time like the Civil War?
Well, first off, when you do this, you're automatically just sent there, just like that, bam. And what it was like for me to see the Civil War, I was up in the air just above watching the battle, and I had one general on one side of me and another general on the other side of me, and they were just watching. And it was really awful. The battle was terrible. So ever since I've seen that and witnessed and heard everybody screaming for their mother and father,
yes,
it's changed my life. I don't really believe in war anymore.
Yeah, most people have been in it, don't. All right, please give it a try. General delivery here, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very, very much. Oh, I'm sorry, but that was it. Fascinating. You know, that fellow sounded serious to me, and his device sounded serious too. Hello, you're on Dark Matter.
Our time right now is a commodity that I'm not in possession of, but I may be brief and I may not be as articulate as I'd like to be right now, but I would accept questions from you if I give you a brief introduction.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, Art, you had a guest on, I believe it was last night, and this is October 10th, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, his name was Hogue. I forget his first name.
No, Hogue was on earlier in the week. I believe it was Monday night was Hogue.
It was the gentleman speaking about Nostradamus.
That would be Monday night.
Okay, so
today is Thursday.
Very well, very well. Well, sir, he had a certain thing to say about a certain economic collapse in 2016, and unfortunately that is the case. What people need to pay attention to is the year 2029. Time is of the essence here. 2029 is what to look forward to. Not look forward to it in the sense of optimism, or look forward to it in the sense of prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for what is about to take hold of humanity as a whole.
You're telling me that you have traveled to that year?
I am technically within that. What you need to understand, Art, is that time is the most, it's an abstraction, Art. There's a human construct. All times are happening right now. Right now, I am 2009, 2029, and also 2013. So any questions that you may want to put my way, I will be able to answer. But I must say that I need to get this information out, because there's certain forces that can just cut this off. Like it's just
okay. Well, you're telling us to look out for 2029. Why?
Look to the skies, Art. Look to the skies. There's an astrological momentum taking place right now, and it is of epic proportions. The Mayans were close to their predictions, but given their technology at the time, they were close, but they got it. They were off by a bit, and there's something going on here, Art. It is not. It's good and bad at the same time, Art. It is good and bad at the same time.
Can you be more specific? What's going to happen in 29?
All I can really say, Art, is look to the skies. It is an alignment, and it involves human consciousness. What you need to understand, look to, I believe, in the year 2013, a man, he's been on the History Channel that's been on the TV, that's broadcast to the televisions across the world. His name is John Anthony West. He does work with Egyptology.
I know him.
Have you had him on your show before?
I have, yes.
I would greatly recommend having him on your show in the near future. He is.
All right. Well, I appreciate the suggestion for a guest, but if we're going to have time travelers and you're going to suggest a year to me and say, look to the sky, I want specifics. Hello, you're on the air.
Art.
Yes.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Awesome, man. This is Mike from Phoenix, otherwise known as iPokespot, and I run your parody Twitter account off on the Twitter space.
Are you a time traveler?
Yes, I am, sir. I remember one thing you mentioned on one of your previous shows. You had a dream where you experienced the life of other people, and I've had plenty of those. It's weird, you go into the dream, and it's like
to when have you time traveled, please?
In my dreams.
In your dreams?
Yes, sir.
So not in full waking life. You've never time traveled in waking life.
Well, that's a matter of perspective. But like you said in your previous shows, it's like you know who you are in like another person, another life. You can name everything that happened, And, I'm just wondering what else you have to say about that, because...
What I have to say, okay, well, I'm moving on because I'm looking for time travelers who are going to tell me things, not ask me things. You're on the air. This is Dark Matter. Hello.
Art Bell, Mega Roswell Steve. How are you tonight?
Oh, quite well, sir. Thank you. Are you a time traveler?
Well, I have a time shifting experience for you that I'd like to share.
That'll work.
This was back on 11/11. Actually, I called and spoke to you a couple of weeks ago about my little 11/11 adventure. But one of the things that we kind of came to this group of indigos that I got to know really well. We all kind of reached a conclusion that we felt that the whole 2012 enigma was really that the nature of time itself was changing. That it was being more fluidic and easily changed, just like pressure levels. Going down to Sedona, traveling there by car, it took me 17 hours. Coming back, it took 12. Same route, same speeds. So it was kind of a confirmation for me. One of the local Sedona people that I met actually gave me a branch that I put in the back seat to take home as a souvenir. And on the way back, that thing was just jittering in the back seat, just shaking. And I don't know if it was a flux capacitor or what, but there was some Sedona portal energy that followed me home that really did kind of reinforce that standpoint that the nature of time itself is changing, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. That it's a lot more fluid than people understand. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the call, and take care. I'm not sure that qualifies, and I'm not sure it doesn't. You're on Dark Matter. Hello.
Hi, Art. It's a great show. I love it. I can't believe I'm calling, but I was in my late teens. I'm 45 now. I'm on the subway, and I'm counting down the stops. I'm paying attention. I'm getting off at the last stop in the line. And I just stopped paying attention for a little while. And then I looked up, and I had gone back like 3 or 4 stops. And right away, I kind of sat up and looked at the map that was up there, and looked at the stops that I went and counted through, and it was just an alarming feeling, Did you feel anything different? I didn't notice that I had lost any time or anything like that. It's just I had gone back a couple stops and kind of did a little reset, it seemed like. I never had an experience like that, and again,
okay, so there was no permanent shift. There was a temporary shift. You went bouncing back or something, right?
No, like if it was supposed to say take me an hour to run the whole line,
Right.
I think it took me an hour. Like I don't see that I lost or gained any time, but like
Right.
it was this Toronto subway system. So I'm like going through the stops. Okay, Jane, Ogden, Old Mill, or whatever. And then, went through 3 stops that I wasn't looking at, and then I'm back like 3 or 4 stops, and then like kind of went through the stops again.
Okay, I think I've got it, but you were still in the same time frame, so it's sort of a mind trick. This is Dark Matter, and you're on the air. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Art. Roswell. Name's Jeff.
Thank you.
I had an unusual experience. It was like a waking dream. I, like you, have always been interested in time travel, and the way it went down was these fellows that I guess you could say they exist somewhere in between the universes, and they were explaining to me how the time travel actually works. And these guys are basically there to make sure that, things go according to plan. And what they do is they will pull a certain individual from one universe and have them go to another universe to time travel, because if you time travel in the universe you are from, it doesn't really work because you are altering your own timeline, and then it's automatically reset.
Did you experience this yourself?
Yeah, they took me to some place. It was like, I don't know any other way to explain it. It was just like an energy, sort of like they had this white hair that sort of glowed. They looked like humans. And it was a white area, but you couldn't see anything past maybe like 20 or 30 yards. It was just like white.
Mm-hmm.
And they were explaining that if I was to time travel in my own universe, that anything that I would do would not really work out because I'm from that one. They would have to take somebody else from another universe and bring them here. And I guess these guys are in between, so they must be really old or not old at all. I don't know if time even works there, however it works. But yeah, that was what it was. That was how it was explained to me.
Well, that's quite a thing to have to explain to anybody. And but again, getting back to this, you were elsewhere or elsewhen, I guess is the way to put it.
Yes, I have no idea how to explain where it was, other than the fact that I wasn't where I was prior to that. Yeah.
All right, got it. I think. Thank you very much, and take care, time traveler. I hope you're a time traveler. Hello.
Art,
Yes.
how are you tonight, sir?
Just fine.
I'm a trucker, and I have a bizarre situation happened to me. I actually jumped forward in time almost an hour, and I have proof that it happened.
Okay.
I was coming out of Atlanta on a night run going to Miami. I come across the border into Florida, and I started getting some really bad tunnel vision, and I didn't know what. I thought maybe it was a medical issue or something was going bizarre with me, so I put the flashers on, geared her down, and got her off to the side of the road.
Right.
I felt okay, so I felt okay, let's head on down. So I get down to my drop down in Miami, and I'm almost an hour early. Now, this run normally takes me 3.5 hours to make the run. I make the same fuel stop every day, going down and back. Well, I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't really think nothing of it until I went to take down the information. I have a commercial GPS on my truck because I record my miles and fuel mileage and all that off it. I saved it on my GPS. This happened 72,207 miles ago, and it showed my average speed on the run 62 miles an hour, and I had a peak speed of 107.3 miles an hour on this truck.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, I got a Cat C15 in this truck, but there ain't no way this thing is going to do no 107 miles an hour. Now, I got thinking about it. With a GPS, it isn't registered speed by motion. It's by point off a satellite.
Yes, sir.
And I really believe that when I hit that tunnel vision, it threw me forward damn near an hour. Wow. And, I mean, I will never erase that. I have on my GPS forever. I got 3 different fields for route information. I look at that every night. Do I make the same run every night? And every time I get to the point where I have that tunnel vision, I get freaked out. That's
pretty convincing, actually. I really appreciate the story. And I do the same thing. I keep it forever.
Yeah, all right, sir. And if nothing else, it is a Matrix, and I get one of those, deja vu moments.
I hear you. Quite a story. Thank you. And take care. Wow. Hi there. You're on the air. This is Dark Matter.
Hello, Art.
Hello.
Hey, Mega Roswell.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've been listening to you since 1996, 97, I guess.
Yes, sir. Are you a time traveler?
I would say I had a time travel experience possibly. When I was in the Navy back in 92, I used to drive back to Maryland quite frequently from Norfolk. And I was around Waldorf, Maryland at the time, and I usually, where Highway 5 and 301 are run together, 301 splits off on a ramp and continues up. And I went off on that ramp. I continued up, and I should have hit a red light around Brandywine Road, and I ended up driving. I was driving. I was kind of confused there for a second. I came up on a house, and I was like, this is weird. I'm lost. This is weird. I figured I was in Waldorf, Maryland somewhere. I wasn't thinking, and I turned out, and I went to the end of that road, and at a stop sign, I turned right, and I went down that road, and I was on US 1 around Dumfries, Virginia. So there's something like, there's a couple rivers. You got the Potomac River and all that. I mean, that's about, between the two, that's over an hour drive away. I was really confused for a little bit, and it took me a while to figure out where I was when I ended up on Highway 9, on Highway 1.
US 1 and ended up going home that way. I went over the Woodrow Wilson Bridge and everything, going all the way back up to where I used to live in Maryland. So,
okay, well, I don't know what to say about that, except to accept the story and say thank you.
Yeah, I always wanted to tell you that story, so there you go.
You have done so. Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. Have fun.
Take care.
And we'll be back when he returns.
All right. The hounds are loose. The lines are open. I said I'd do it from break to break, and I've got, I think, 1, 2, 3 possible time travelers on hold. But the rest of the lines are now open for whatever it is that you would like to call about. So open lines. So anything at all. Fair game. Let us begin. Hello there. You're on the air. This is Dark Matter. Hello. Going
Hello?
once. Yes, hello.
Hello. How are you? Art, I'm so happy that you're back on the air.
Thank you.
I'm really excited that I got in, actually. I actually contacted you many years ago by email, and if don't say anything on the air, if you might remember, I asked you if you could help me find somebody in the Philippines. You responded something like, there's so many million people in the Philippines, but thank you. And so we left it at that.
Yes.
I don't know if that rings any bells or not.
It does. I remember. Yes.
Okay. I was in a situation where I was tortured back in the days, so I had started doing meditation maybe a year or two ago. I found this astral projection thing on YouTube. I started toying around with it, and I think this is time travel. I'm almost positive the year's 2050. Well, I know the year's 2050, and it's so cool. I can't see when I put my hand out in front of me, I can't really see it, but it's almost translucent. But I was in a personal vehicle. Okay, for you stock people out there, it's called Personal Vehicle Technology Corporation. Buy that stock. I don't know when the company started. Where I was at, there's no private vehicles. Everything is this personal vehicle transportation. And
you're saying this is in the future.
This is 2050.
2050 in the future.
The reason I was fortunate is because where I was in one of these little personal vehicle transportation devices, and there were two gentlemen in it, and they sat around a round table, reading the paper, drinking coffee, and they had a little, TV on. Everything.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I really want to ask, how did you get there, or to that time?
I'm not really sure. It started with this astral projection stuff that I was listening to. I listened to it, maybe a couple times a day.
And then you were actually physically in a different time, in a different place.
In this astral projection thing, it talks to you about, how do you want to feel about yourself, and where do you see yourself in the future? And that's kind of where I started getting into it as well. Where do I see myself down the road? And this is, it was so bizarre and yet so exciting. The reason I know quite a bit of information is because they had like a little, these guys are obviously businessmen, but they had like a little monitor, and, the best I could correlate it to is, they have like the Fox Business News in the morning. And so I was getting a lot of information there, and that was one of the things that I saw was this personal vehicle thing.
All right, well that's quite a tip. If it's true, that's quite a tip.
Hey, I thank you a lot. And the other thing too, I'm going to try and do while the show is on tonight. The only big problem that I found was that the air seemed to be really hard for me to breathe. So I wasn't able to stay there very long. And maybe it was just that I was freaking out. But I'm going to try and right there where you're sitting, by the way, I think you have either an old shirt or a stained shirt. But I'm going to try.
Stained. I always spill coffee on myself.
I am going to try and move a paper or tip something over in the next hour. And if it works,
I do that on my own. All right, I'll look for it.
Well, if it happens, let people know.
It's your fault. That's what it'll be. Your fault. All right. Thank you very much. 2050, huh? Oh. Well, one thing I'll say about that guy is if you're going to be time traveling and you're going to the future, the business network, bots or otherwise, would definitely be what you'd want to watch. Personal transportation thing. Yep. Buy the stock now. Hi there, you're on the air. This is Dark Matter.
Mr. Bell, Mega Roswell to you, sir.
Thank you.
Look, I just want that trucker from Georgia to know he's not alone. I'm a trucker as well, and the company I work for, we deliver for a large retail chain. I'm not going to say the trucking company. I'm not going to say what the retail chain is.
Yes, sir.
But we deliver grocery goods overnight, and normally I do between 1 and 2 runs a night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this past February, I finished my second run, and I still had about 4.5 hours left on my DOT clock. And they said, here, you've got to take this one down to Camden and Dover, Delaware. And I remember I said to my supervisor, I said, there's no way I'm going to make it. It's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, because it had to be, if this was at 3 a.m., they hand me the paperwork and tell me it has to be there by 5. We all knew it was not going to happen.
Right.
We're located in central Pennsylvania. There's no possible way for it to happen. So, but I took the run. I figured, okay, better late than never. At least they'll have their products.
Right.
Started my run, and the one thing I noticed was I could not get warm. I had the heater blaring in the truck. My whole body just tingled, and it was a weird feeling. And the other thing I noticed, there's a couple other things I noticed, was there was no other traffic on the road, which is weird because I had to take the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and normally that's jammed around Philadelphia.
Well,
around
of
the
course,
time
I would say that's really weird, yes.
And the other thing was, my truck's governed at 61.5 miles an hour, and normally I can feel it get up on the turbo and start pulling.
Right.
It would not do that to save my life. I mean, I'm calling this truck everything but the color it is, and cursing it out. Anyways, I get to the stop in Camden that I've got to be there by 5. Hit the dock, pull the brakes, send my ride call in my dispatcher. Not even 30 seconds later, my cell phone's going off, and he's cursing me out. Would you quit screwing around? And he stopped himself in mid-sentence. He was about to tell me get going and get there. He goes, how the hell did you get there on time? I go,
oh, God.
I told him, I said, dude, I don't know what's going on. It's my GPS has got to be screwed up because it's saying it's only 4:30. There's no possible way it's 4:30. He goes, dude, it's 4:30. I mean, I was completely shocked. I don't know how I made it from Hazleton, Pennsylvania to Camden, Delaware in less than an hour and a half. I don't know how it happened, and then I haven't had it happen since. But the other bizarre part was I parked at my Dover stop, which was right up the road, and later that day, actually just as soon as my head hit the pillow, my cell phone went off again. It was my aunt telling me that my father had passed.
Wow.
So I don't know if it was Dad helping me out or what, but I mean it was the most bizarre feeling I've ever had, and it's kind of an eerie feeling every time I have to make the Camden run now.
Yep. So totally hear you, buddy. Thank you for the story. The impossible, right? The impossible. And yet it happened. people have these things in their life, and they do happen. I know. I had one. So did he. Hello, you're on Dark Matter. Good evening.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. Hey, I was like a time skip over story. Okay, I walk to work. Sorry, go ahead.
That's right. No. Go.
Okay. I walk to work every day. Well, a couple weeks ago, I was walking to work, and I had just gotten ready for work and everything. I started walking. I checked my clock. It says I get there an hour early all the time, have my coffee, whatever.
Right.
And I'm walking at 7:30. Well, I'm supposed to be there at 9. Well, I'm like, okay. I look at the clock, and I'm walking to get there. It'll take about 15 minutes or so. Okay. So I get there, and everybody's like, they're waiting. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? I look at the clock, and it's 9 o'clock. Somehow I skipped over that hour somewhere. And I have no idea how that happened.
You didn't. I mean, you were walking.
Yeah. Yes. I was walking.
And you skipped an hour.
Somehow I lost an hour. It was like 9 o'clock, and I should have gotten there at 8.
Boy, that's weird.
Yeah, very bizarre.
You're obviously not the only one.
I know, right? So and everybody's like, well, thank you.
Right, thank you. Not the only one, obviously. A lot of that's going on out there. A lot of this skipping or missing. And that certainly is time movement, isn't it? Dark Matter, you're on the air. Hi.
Hey, Art Bill, Mecca Roswell.
Thank you.
I have been waiting for years to thank you.
For a minute there, I thought you were Edna.
No, I'm sorry. Everybody says I'm everybody else, but last I checked, my name is Shirley. I'm a truck driver, and back in '89, when you was still back on AM radio, and I had to hunt from station to station.
Right.
Well, I was in Ohio. It's 55-mile-an-hour speed limit for trucks. I had lost you, and I was trying to find you. And I looked in my mirror, and blue. I got pulled over. The cop says, "What were you doing?" I said, "I lost Art Bill. I'm trying to listen to him." He says, "Oh, my God, my grandmother loves you." And he says, "Come back to my squad car and we'll find it." So we went back to the squad car, and he found it and gave me the channel to look for. And I said, "Okay, well, give me the ticket." He says, "I can't get you a ticket." He says, "My grandmother would kill me if I got that in trouble."
That's funny.
So I just wanted to tell you I'm so glad you're on Sirius, because now I can listen to you and I don't have to hunt for you anymore.
That's right. One channel, coast to coast to coast, baby.
And let me tell you, it is programmed on it, and thank you for being the best of the best of the best.
That's very kind. Thank you so much. What a nice story. And then he did not defer. You know, I went to visit Bob Crane. I'm going to tell you this little story. This is one where I did get the ticket. I went to visit Bob Crane before I came on the air. We were going to go have a little vacation, right? So we packed the family in the car, and off we go to Northern California. And I had been driving for, I'm going to guess, 13 hours. 14 hours, somewhere in there. And I was really tired, but it was late. It was dark. We were within a couple hours of Bob's house. So I pulled over into a rest area. And we had some coffee. I got out of the car, walked around a little bit. This is getting up into, solid redwood country up there, the big trees. And so got back in the car from the rest area. The sign at the end of the rest area said 7% rate. So I was just to put the seatbelt on, we were driving. We started down the hill, and I was getting organized as we went down the hill. Well, I've got a nice new car, and it's supposed to be a controlled speed, but it's not. At least not when you're on a 7% grade. So down we go. By the time I'm nearing the bottom of the hill, I see the lights behind me. Pulls me over. And, oh, baby, I got a ticket. I sure got a ticket. Now, he didn't write it for as fast as I was actually going, but I thought, it just doesn't seem right. I mean, here I am I've been driving a long time, coming out of a rest area, I hit a 7% grade. My car doesn't hold speed on a 7% grade. It lets go, which it did. I deserve the ticket. But sitting in the back seat in her little chair, just couldn't resist. Daddy got a ticket. Daddy got a ticket. She was so happy to see the cop. Daddy got a ticket. You're on the air. It's Dark Matter. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hey there.
How are you?
Surviving.
I'm glad to hear it. My name's Kristen, and I'm calling from, I don't even know, my husband and I are on a cross-country trip, and we're due north of Elko right now, going cross-country.
All right, watch your speed.
Yeah, Gordon Lightfoot, baby, it's all right. That was a good one.
Yes, indeed.
I'm with you on the music. Hey, I wanted to share an experience that my husband and I had and get your take on it. This happened about 1.5 years ago, and there's, excuse me, out in San Bernardino County, there's a place where we go, and it's in the mountains there. We gather medicine, gather some things that we need for ceremonial purposes. And on the road where we go to do this, the layout of the land is kind of significant, so let me explain it to you briefly. It's a wide open road, and it's a dead end at one. You can see in either direction from the hill. You take a dirt road, like a T-shape, to go up. We walk up this dirt path up the hill to where we go to gather the stuff. And we're up there picking the medicine, and my husband and the dog are on one side. I'm on the other side, and my bag gets full, and so I go back down the dirt road down to where our van is parked on the main street. And just before I get there, and mind you can see in either direction.
Right. Where'd you go? Oh, what a shame. We lost her. That's the nature of cell phones. I'm sorry to say. You're on the air. This is Dark Matter. Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
Oh, my. This is Marianne calling from Blairstown, New Jersey.
Welcome.
The Roswell view.
Thank you.
I had a question about my cats. I have two lovely cats who are both Geminis, and they're large Maine Coon cats. And I asked George Norrie about this recently, and he didn't know anything. And I said, I want to find an astrologer who can do a reading for my cats. And he didn't know.
I think he does know some astrologers, actually.
He didn't sound like he knew much.
Maine Coons, that's what my Yeti is, a Maine Coon cat. But I don't know. I can't know whether he's whether he's a Gemini or not. He just bounded into our yard one day, so I don't know his actual month birth. But I know Geminis are trouble. I know that because I'm one of them. Sometimes you just have to keep your mouth shut. Hi there.
Hi, this is Kristen. We got cut off in the midst of my story.
We sure did.
Would you like to hear the rest of it?
I would. Please proceed.
Okay, so I'm at the part. I gathered medicine. My bag is full. I walk back down to where the van was. A car appears out of nowhere right behind our van, and it's a red car. There's no distinguishing logos or anything. I've never seen a car like it, but it's rather sporty looking. But when
real quick now, let's finish up.
Okay, so the car appeared out of nowhere, spins around, goes around the van. I get a little nervous. I start walking up the hill to my husband. He comes back down to me, and this man gets out of the car, and he's honking, starts to walk up the hill. A very odd feeling. It was just really odd. My husband and I go back down the hill towards the van, and he just disappears. Gone. Both of us were right there. Yeah, the car, the man, everything, just gone. There was nothing.
In
It
front of
appeared
your
out
eyes?
in front of our eyes. My husband was there too.
Oh, all right. Thank you. That's a good one. I have never seen anything or anybody just disappear. That's a pretty good one. Thank you. I'm glad you got to finish the story. That was lucky indeed. Hi there. This is Dark Matter, and you're on the air.
Hey, Art.
Hey, yes.
This is Ron Man, trucking across Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
I was curious, do you think you'd ever do another show on the feral human?
Oh, sure. That was a fascinating topic.
I've never heard another show on it. That had to be back in, the late 90s, maybe? Something like that.
That's right. And you know the reason I did it? I found somebody because there was a movie about feral humans, and I found it really fascinating that in this modern day and age, actually America's a lot bigger than you think it is. There's a lot of wild areas. Could a feral human exist? Yes, they could, and they have.
Yes, I was talking to someone today about that very thing, about how much wide open space, even here in Tennessee, people think it's all populated. But best I remember, wasn't that up around the Red River Gorge area of Kentucky? So it's not far from here anyway.
It was, sir. Yes. Thank you very much. I've got to run. I've got to do a break now. If I don't do a break, we're going to be at the end of the show. So, yes, the answer to that is yes. If I find the opportunity to do a show on feral humans, you can bet I'll do it. All right, folks, we are so low on time. Listening to those stories, I just let it slip by. Dark Matter, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, Art. Manny Roswell to you.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say welcome back and thank you for all the years you kept me going as a law enforcement officer at night. And I did pull over a car once and gave her a warning because she was listening to your show.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did. But the reason I called is there any more place where I could find information on one of my favorite guests, that's Father Malachi Martin?
Father Martin has passed away.
Yes, I know, but didn't he write some books?
Oh, yes. Yes, just Google him. Trust me, Google him on, where else? Google. And you'll find lots of information on Father Martin. You're on the air, Dark Matter. Hi.
Hi, how are you, Art?
Just fine.
Good. I'm calling from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, a tasty Canadian.
All right.
I've got a story for you. I don't know what it is. Time travel, space travel, I don't know. I got to tell you, okay, my friend lives 400 miles away from me. She's a girl, but we're just friends. There's nothing romantic.
Mm-hmm.
I was at home, and I had a couple glasses of wine, and I actually fell asleep on my couch watching a football game, a college football game. So I wake up at 2:30 because the dog jumped on me and, wanted to go outside to do her business. So I did that and went to bed. I get a phone call about 7 o'clock in the morning from my friend Rhonda, and she says to me, "Why did you leave without telling me you were going?"
Whoa.
And I said, "What are you talking about?" She says, "Well, you were here last night, remember?" And I go, "What?" She said, I was sitting in my kitchen crying because her and her boyfriend, she had told me, had broken up, and you spent the night comforting me. And I said, "Rhonda, I'm at home. I'm 400 miles away."
Right.
She says, No. You're pulling my leg. She said, "Now I'm mad at you because now you're telling me, you don't believe me and you were here." Anyway, she moved back to my home city.
Yes.
And get this. I walked into her house to help her move and pack and everything. And when I stepped into her house, and I had never been there before, it was like, oh my God, I've been here before. And every hair on my body, it was like somebody dumped cold water on me. And I looked and I said, I've been here before.
I've heard college football has a strange effect on people, but that's over the top, all right. So in other words, when you thought you were asleep on that couch, you were actually comforting her.
Yes.
How far away?
400 miles.
400.
And get this, she even said to me, she said, "Don't you remember about 2:30 you had to take Jessie out for pee?"
Yay.
Now, I don't know if that's a ghost story or time travel. And Rhonda and I have talked about this ever since, and it's like we can't talk about it because it both send shivers up our spines.
I hear you. I don't know what you would call that either, but worthy of being told here on Dark Matter. That's for darn sure.
Well, thank you very much, Art, for listening to me, and Mega Roswell.
Take care, my friend. That is wild. Dark Matter, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. Did you realize that they have been able to levitate frogs using 16 Tesla units of electromagnetic energy?
They've been able to levitate what? Dogs?
Frogs.
Frogs. Oh, yeah. I've seen frogs levitate.
That just blew me away, and it made me think of Maurice Cotterill. I'd really like to see you get him on again.
That'd be fun. Yes, I've seen frogs levitate. It's an amazing thing to see, isn't it?
Want to take a ride?
I take rides every night, my friend.
I've got a question about your antenna.
Okay, real quick.
Is it possible that the flow of magnetic energy over the Earth, over such a large conductor as the antenna that you have, generates electricity via the laws of Faraday's laws?
Of course it's possible. I would like some precise measurements made. I'd like to know more about it, whether it could be utilized, whether I could, charge with it, whether I could do something productive with it. I really want the answers myself.
Awesome. First time, long time. Have a good night, man.
You too, my friend. Take care, and I think we'll do a wrap on this week at that point, or at this point. It's been a blast, everybody. Open lines always are. You just simply never, ever know what to expect. Not when it's midnight in the desert. You all have a good night, have a good weekend, and remember, there are replays that go on during the days that I'm gone. 2 shows, in fact, every night. We'll sort of mix it up a little for you. So there you have it. Have a good weekend. Well, I can't say that, can I? I'll have a good weekend. If you work tomorrow, you have a great day and then a good weekend. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Art Bell. And of course, as always, please make sure you do like, share, and subscribe. Get us to those goals of 5,000 viewers, 1,000 subscribers. So therefore, Boxing Extras and YouTube will pay attention to us, and we definitely will greatly appreciate you for doing so. CoinBase and Ibotta below. Fill them out, of course, get your items. And until we do meet again for tomorrow, make sure your fights in Dominion are awesome. Make sure you do be kind to one another. And of course, like, share, and subscribe as we continue to march on here from day one. Have a great night and enjoy your rest.